Param Vijayate Sri Krishna Sankirtanam. Total world victory of Hare Krishna. My name is Sitapati Das, and this is Roadside Bhagavad-gita 142 with Prahlad.
Hello.
So this is Bhagavad-gita, the Song of God, Chapter 1, Observing the Armies on the Battlefield of Kurukshetra, Arjuna Vishad Yoga. Text number 42. Doṣair etaiḥ, kula-ghnānāṁ, varṇa-saṅkara-kārakaiḥ, utsādyante jāti-dharmāḥ, kula-dharmāś śāśvatāḥ. Doṣair,
By such faults,
etaiḥ,
all these,
kula-ghnānāṁ,
of the destroyers of the family,
varṇa-saṅkara,
of unwanted children,
crank it out, generate, kārakaiḥ,
which are causes,
utsādyante,
are devastated,
jāti-dharmāḥ,
community projects,
kula-dharmāḥ,
family traditions,
also śāśvatāḥ.
eternal.
Translation. This is from the 1983 edition, first of all.
By the evil deeds of those who destroy the family traditions and thus give rise to unwanted children, all kinds of community projects and family welfare activities are devastated.
Okay. Now, from the 1972 edition. Watch how I do this. I'll do this one. You watch this. Here. Watch. Due to the evil deeds of the destroyers of family tradition, all kinds of community projects and family welfare activities are devastated. Okay. Due to the evil deeds versus by the evil deeds. Can we get both at once? Tough. How do we get rid of that? There we go. Let's see if we can get them both at the same time. Okay, so the 83 one says, by the evil deeds of those who destroy the family tradition. The earlier, 72, says, due to the evil deeds of the destroyers of the family tradition. And the 83 edition says, and thus give rise to unwanted children. But the 72 edition doesn't say that. It just moves on to all kinds of family projects, all kinds of community projects and family welfare activities are devastated. The 83 one says, all kinds of community projects and family welfare activities are devastated. So, slight rewording, due to the evil deeds, by the evil deeds, of those who destroy the family traditions, versus of the destroyers of family tradition. And in the 83 it says, and thus give rise to unwanted children, varṇa-saṅkara, which appears in the word for word and in the verse, but isn't in the 72 translation. What do you think about that?
I don't know.
The 83 one to me seems to be closer to the verse itself. I would like a critical analysis, a website where you can go and see the exact changes, and you can look at them.
There are websites that you can put in the two and then it will show the differences.
Yeah, exactly. That's we're gonna have to do that. Okay, so did you find there is a difference right at the beginning of the purport? Let's go with the purport from we'll go with 72 first. I'll read the 72 purport and then you read the 83, right? Okay, the purport from the 72 edition by His Divine Grace Srila A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. The four orders of human society, combined with family welfare activities, as they are set forth by the institution of sanātana-dharma, or varṇāśrama-dharma, are designed to enable the human being to attain his ultimate salvation. Therefore, the breaking of the sanātana-dharma tradition by irresponsible leaders of society brings about chaos in that society. And consequently, people forget the aim of life, Viṣṇu. Such leaders are called blind, and persons who follow such leaders are sure to be led into chaos. It's the 72 edition, now from the 83. Take it away.
Community projects for the four orders of human society, combined with family welfare activities as they are set forth by the institution of sanātana-dharma, or varṇāśrama-dharma, are designed to enable the human being to enable his ultimate salvation, to attain his ultimate salvation.
Yeah.
Therefore, the breaking of the sanātana-dharma tradition by irresponsible leaders of society brings about chaos in that society, and consequently people forget the aim of life, Viṣṇu. Such leaders are called blind, and persons who follow such leaders are sure to be led into chaos.
Yeah, so one difference here is this community projects does not appear. You notice that?
Yeah.
It just says the breaking of the sanātana-dharma. It's interesting because the original one says the four orders of human society, combined with family welfare activities as they're set forth by the institution of sanātana-dharma or varṇāśrama-dharma. Here it says community projects for the four orders of human society, combined with family welfare activities. One is the four orders themselves combined with family welfare activities, and family welfare activities seems to be jāti-dharmāḥ, kula-dharmāḥ, family tradition. Really depends how deeply you're going to go into this, and I would be very careful about changing this stuff, man. I would be very careful about changing it personally. Community projects, so all kinds of community projects, it says in the 83 edition. It says all kinds of community projects in the translation here.
Maybe that's why they changed it.
Maybe. It would be interesting to know, you know, did they make it closer to what Prabhupada had written or dictated, or who knows? Who knows? Okay, well, let's comment on this verse as it is. Either one. Both of them. Om jnana-timirandasya jnananjana-shalakaya chakshur unmilitam yena tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha. Michael McNeish is watching. Let's send him bring him on video request, see if he wants to come on to discuss this verse. While he's doing that, Arjuna here is expanding his argument that he's making to Krishna about why it's not a good idea to fight. He's walking down that chain of logic. You know, we can see the sin in destroying the family, but these people can't. Why should we do it? They don't care about the impact of what this battle will do to the world. So many men will be killed on this battlefield, and then the women will be left unprotected. The children will grow up without fathers. Through the destruction of the family unit, the family tradition is lost, and the family becomes involved in their religion. When the family becomes involved in their religion, the women become corrupt. Earlier version, polluted, new version. And then out of that corruption, or the pollution of women, arises unwanted progeny, or a low quality of population, as Prabhupada says in the Purport. And now he further says it, you know, from a rise in unwanted population, all kinds of family, first of all, the ancestors of such corrupted families fall down because the offerings to them are completely stopped. And then all kinds of community projects and family welfare activities are devastated due to the evil deeds of the destroyers of the family tradition. He's really going for it here. Jāti-dharmāḥ. For the 1972 edition, we're using Prabhupada.io, where as in database.io, if you click on a term in the word for word, the synonyms, it'll take you to a concordance which shows you where that term occurs anywhere in the books. If you do it in Prabhupada.io, it seems to have generated like a glossary. And I think that this glossary is generated by taking every instance of that word in the word for words and taking the translation, you know, from the word for word and putting them all together in one place. Yeah, that's what they've done. Oh, and look, you can actually, how did that happen? So you can get it in place, or you can jump to the same kind of view as the database.io. Okay, what are your thoughts on this?
Not really much to say. It's basically the last purport. It's a little bit different.
Well, you think it's basically the last one?
Yeah. Oh, not the actual purport, but just the verse.
Well, this one before is about the ancestors, right? And the offerings to the ancestors.
And the next one is about community and society.
Yeah, but the purport here is, you know, in the previous one it was talking about, you remember, it's like Arjuna's argument is bad for me, bad for others.
Yeah.
Remember that? So in the previous verse he was talking about, you know, the ancestors of such corrupt families fall down. Now he's talking about the people themselves. Not only do the ancestors fall down, but these people themselves are not going to attain liberation. Remember yesterday in our discussion, we were talking about, is it 121, 14 generations, you know? And then Isha says, well, you know, are you included in the 100 generations? But it's like, you know, you're the one who attains liberation, so good for you, and good for the other generations. Here, Arjuna is saying that the not only are these ancestors going to fall down, but the people themselves are going to fall down. So it's bad for others, and it's bad for these people themselves immediately in the immediate family. The breaking of the sanātana-dharma tradition by irresponsible leaders of society brings about chaos in that society. So we have chaos in this society now, and the chaos has become so bad that you can't even tell that it's chaos. Oh, look, I was reading about Bali, you know, a priest was fighting with a tourist over there, and Australians getting arrested in record numbers. And they're doing a crackdown over there because they're like, okay, we're sick of this, we're over it, the chaos, you know. But that kind of chaos is just like par for the course, you know, in these Western countries, where basically what you do is you become a working kind of slave in a system where, you know, you're working inside a big machine, economic machine, to make money, concentrate wealth in the hands of some wealthy capitalists, and then you get taxed to the bone by this government bureaucracy that's just this massive kind of thing that then after taxing you, you're working so hard, and they tax you so hard, they tax you on your income, they add tax to everything that you buy, they tax you on any money that you save or any profits that you make from interest, they tax you on capital gains, they tax you on everything. Just tax, 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 and then they use the money to oppress you and to tell you what to do. This is crazy. And that's life in the modern Western world. People are locked into a system. You know, people are like, oh, this varṇāśrama system, because it talks about jāti-dharmāḥ, right? Which is like, jati means like birth or caste. People are like, I don't want to be part of a caste system. It's like, surprise, you are. You know, we are locked into the system and brainwashed into thinking that we're not. But you try going outside the lines of the system, you don't know that it exists until you try going outside the lines of it. You try doing something like this. I don't want to inject my kid with these pharmaceutical things, and I don't want them to go into this industrialized education system, and I don't want to just be paying you money all the time. I just want to live on, I'm going to buy some land, live on my land, and you just leave me alone. You try doing that and see what happens. You know? They're like, hey man, no, you can't do this. individually, and if you try to do it collectively, well, it's even harder, you know, the system comes after you then. So there is a system here, but it's invisible to most people. They're brainwashed into it. The Truman Show, you know?
Yeah.
You know, people think, you know, the mind control is complete because they're just slaves, you know? Now, at the same time, what there is to acknowledge is, you know, there are facilities that become available to us from living here, without a doubt. Without a doubt. You know, like living in South America was, you know, there's a lot of things I appreciated about moving to Australia after that. The security, the peace of mind, you know? But there's a price you pay for it, and you're inside a system that has, as Marx and Mao pointed out, inherent internal contradictions. The capitalist system has this inherent contradiction that causes it to expand and then collapse. And it has like an 80 to 100 year cycle, boom and bust. It's inevitable. And then they kind of cover it up by, you know, throwing a pandemic, you know, there was the Spanish flu pandemic, and then there's a world war, and, you know, oh, what a coincidence, that 100 years later there's another pandemic and another world war. And the reason for that is that, you know, with the expansion and the over-leveraging of the capitalist economy, they have to destroy everything and then rebuild it, because the capitalist economy relies on growth, unlimited growth, has to keep growing, But it gets to a point where it's massively over-leveraged and growth is very difficult. And at that point, unless you invade another country, you have to destroy the infrastructure in the country that exists, and then, you know, rebuild it up again from scratch. So that's what they do. They just periodically destroy everything and then rebuild it. Because for them, the goal of life is to make money, to make more money, and not only to, you know, make money, it's to concentrate wealth and control. Whereas the goal in the varṇāśrama civilization is self-realization and liberation, and rather than unlimited kind of like economic growth, the goal there is stability, to create a stable state.
And it's an actual goal that you can achieve.
What's that?
Self-realization.
Can you say more about that?
You're not going to be able to achieve unlimited growth. It's unlimited.
Yeah, exactly. And it is, you know what it's connected to is, it says in the Mahabharata that there is not enough grains, gold, or women in the world to satisfy the uncontrolled desires of even a single man. They're insatiable. Doesn't matter how much you get, you always want more. You know, you're like, you know, you've become the richest man in the world from doing whatever. Now you're like, now I'm going to buy up all the land, you know? Now I want to control countries, and now I want to do this. Now I want to go and control another planet, you know? It's unlimited. Desire is unlimited. So having a civilization that's based on the idea that you are the body, and that the prime necessity of the civilization is to facilitate you satisfying, gratifying the desires of your body, it's an inherent contradiction. You know, Marx and Mao, they point to the inherent contradictions. I'm not promoting what they came up with as a solution for that, because they're dialectical materialists. But when the living entity, when the human being thinks, I am the body, when you think, I'm a human being, I am this body, this set of senses, you're at the mercy of these insatiable desires, and you invent this economic theory where the idea is unlimited growth. Because that's what's happening is, when we came back from South America to live in Brisbane, I remember we were in the temple, and some devotees there were like, oh, the food is like this now. I'm like, dude, there's food here? You know, it was like at the temple in Lima, you would come on one day a week, and if you got there late, you would get the burnt rice at the bottom of the pot, which apparently was like a delicacy, right? And my theory about that is, it's a delicacy because if you get that, you're like, oh my God, I got to eat something, you know, like I nearly missed out. You know what I mean? That's why they like eating that. That's why they're like, that rice is like the ultimate. But in Brisbane, devotees were complaining about the food. I was like, dude, there's like food here twice, 3 times a day, every day. Unbelievable. Fast forward 3 years, and I had like a PlayStation, and I was complaining about the internet wasn't fast enough. You know? It's just like, you become satiated and habituated to it, and then it just increases and increases. you know, then you go backwards and you like go to live at like Nurturing Soul or at Viṣṇu Premapali, next minute you're just like, dude, this is like pretty austere, you know, and then your senses are still habituated to it.
I want some walls.
Yeah, I want some walls. Yeah. And then you gradually start to adjust, you know, and you can, and then you replace that. If you don't replace that with some spiritual practice, then, you know, it's going to be very difficult.
Yeah.
But that's the idea of the sanātana-dharma and varṇa-saṅkara-kārakaiḥ, is it's a civilization designed for self-realization collectively and individually. And so the destruction of that, I mean, people will read this and go, what's the big deal? You know, it's been destroyed and it doesn't seem like such a big deal to me. But when you zoom out and look at the macro problem, especially if you study things like, you know, the inherent contradictions of capitalism, Marx's economic theories, you know, then you can see, yeah, it has real big problems. So then they reinvent communism as stakeholder capitalism, you know, put everyone in little factory farms. You know, we're going to go from free range to factory farming now, make them eat bugs, you know, get them to eat the insect milk. I was watching a 60-minute documentary today on insect milk that they're making in South Africa.
Interesting.
Yeah. Anything else you want to add to today's?
No, not really. Well, no.
Okay. Let's read the verse again at the end. Doṣair etaiḥ kula-ghnānāṁ varṇa-saṅkara-kārakaiḥ utsādyante jāti-dharmāḥ kula-dharmāś śāśvatāḥ. By the evil deeds of those who destroy the family tradition and thus give rise to unwanted children, all kinds of community projects and family welfare activities are devastated. Oh, here, look. Vrinda's watching. We've got a comment. Prahlad is such an old soul. These are the kind of conversations parents should be having with their kids. Love it. It's a fact. Yeah, if you check yesterday's archive, we had Isabella and Prahlad on, and Prahlad and I are going to Nurturing Soul for the day. We're going to pick up some stuff and bring it back because Prahlad's moving to Viṣṇu Premapali. And when we get back, we will have another episode with all four of us. And so I asked Isha to read this part of the Gita so she's got a bit of time to think about what she's going to bring to the discussion. Thanks for tuning in. Param Vijayate Sri Krishna Sankirtanam, total world victory of Hare Krishna. Hari Bol, Will. Hare Krishna.
Hare Bol.